Hey guys, Derek here with another video. So this is going to be my second time doing part two of my PlayStation 2 Hidden Gems videos. First game I have here is going to be Sega Classic Collections, and this is based on some of the remasters that were done for a series of video games in Japan that were called Sega Ages. And if you remember my Working Designs video, or if you just know, on the Sega Saturn there is actually a game called Sega Ages, which was a collection of some of the remasters done for some classic like Master System, Mega Drive, and Sega Genesis games. So it's really cool to see because like some of the games retain their classic play style, and they just had like a 3D graphics overhaul, which is good because a lot of these games look really great now. All right, the next game up is going to be a series of games, but I really only would recommend the second game unless you really like just straight up like old arcade games or just like Atari style games. But it's going to be the Taito Legends games, and like I said, Taito Legends One is a collection of games like Space Invaders, um, was it Bubble Bobble, Operation Wolf. There's one more I'm thinking, a New Zealand story, and yeah, just games like that. I don't really care so much for Atari type games. And the second game, though, is going to be more of a collection of like 1632-bit arcade games. A lot of the obscure Sega Saturn shmups are on this one too, which I think makes this one worth it just for those games. And yeah, there's a lot of like RPG beat 'em ups or just like side-scrolling beat 'em ups as well. And I like this one infinitely better than the first game. And in the U.S. at least, or even like North America, you can only get Taito Legends on the PS2. You can get Taito Legends 1 on the Xbox and the PS2. But if you want to play the Xbox version of Taito Legends 2, you're gonna have to import either the Japanese version or the European version, English language if you speak English, and soft mod your US Xbox or North American Xbox to be able to play um, import games. But I would highly recommend Taito Legends 2, the second game on the PlayStation 2. So the next game up is going to be a sequel to an amazing platformer I talked about in my Wii Hidden Gems video, and that's going to be Klonoa 2. This game is a lot darker than the first game, darker in I guess like story and scope of what it's covering, um, and the graphics of this one kind of changed, so it's a little bit more cel shaded versus like what you would think of like with older 3D platformers, kind of like bright colors and bubbly. This one, like I said, it's a little bit darker. The color palette is a lot darker than the first game. The classic Klonoa platforming though is still a part of this game. The game plays just like the first game, and it's really great. They added some elements into it, like surfing or like riding a snowboard or wakeboard. I guess would probably be more so what it is. But yeah, like the game is really cool. Another one that I definitely would recommend. So I talked about one survival horror from FromSoft in my last video. So I'll talk about the other one that's on the PS2 as well. I don't know if there's another one. I still have yet to go through the entire Age Tech um, catalog of games, but it's going to be Echo Night Beyond, and I really like this one because the environment is set in space, and there's not a lot of like actual. Well, there is no actual combat. All you can really do is run from an enemy if they come at you. So like the one thing that can kill you in this game is if your heart rate like exceeds a certain limit, you'll have a heart attack and you'll die. And the way that your heart rate starts beating faster is if you encounter a ghost, and like after you've encountered a ghost, if it's friendly, then your heart rate will start like going back down, and then you can talk to them to find out like what item is keeping them attached to the physical world, and then it's on you at that point to go and try and find the item that they're looking for or that they're longing for, and then return it to them, and then they'll disappear. And then like normally they're blocking your way forward, so like you can't make any forward progress until you help a ghost out. And then the other way that your heart rate can go up is if you encounter a hostile ghost, and then in that one, like all kinds of crazy things start going on. Um, so like the first one that I encountered was really cool because earlier in the game you're told to avoid the fog because nothing nothing good comes from the fog essentially. And then as you're trying to make your way forward, of course you're going to encounter the fog. And as you do that, you're on this like walkway, and then like the only way forward is running past this ghost. So like all of a sudden, just the poo hits the fan, and then like your heart rate just shoots through the roof, and then it's just cool to just encounter that and then see how you react to it. But like the whole game is very atmospheric, like Q1, and then the music is just really cool. So the next 6 games are all going to be RPGs, and I was thinking about just doing an entire Hidden Gems video dedicated to the RPGs, but it takes so freaking long to record any amount of useful like video footage for an RPG. But anyways, so this first game I'm going to talk about is a really cool action RPG game. I like this one graphically because it mimics what 16 and 32-bit sprites used to look like, but it uses actual like 3D cel-shaded models to do it, and it just looks really good in doing that. So it's going to be Shining Tears, and this game I don't think gets near enough love. And the story in this game is actually pretty cool. The main character, he's the holder of a very powerful ring. It's kind of like the Lord of the Rings, in that the more he uses it, the more evil he becomes. But he has kind of something that, I guess, like a check and balance for it. Like, it takes someone else using the twin ring for this ring to allow him to use his power. So, like, depending on what companion that you're with, they can take on one of the other rings to then have your main character be able to power up and become powerful. And then between you, you have like different like team-based attacks that you can use to fight enemies and stuff. And it's, like I said, it's an action RPG, so like you're running around a stage trying to defeat enemies and stuff, and like the game plays very nice. Also in this game, there's like 6 different like provinces, or 6 or 7 different provinces that make up the game's world, and then within each province, there's different districts and stuff that you can go explore, and then like talk to NPCs, and then buy items and stuff. And it's just cool to explore that and see what the world has to offer. So that's another one I definitely would recommend. This next game I'm going to show, the series of games are one of the first series of video games that I really played, especially like on the PC. And like it's probably going to be somewhat of a divisive game. Like some people probably think this game is trash, but this is my Hidden Gems video, and it's a game that I really like, and it's a game that maybe someone else who likes this style of game has never heard of, so I would like to include this game in this video. So it's going to be Wizardry, and like I said, the Wizardry, like the mainline Wizardry games, are some of the first games that I played on the PC, and like I like these games a lot because as a kid I used to like reading like fantasy and sci-fi books. I know that's probably a shocker to some of you out there, but I liked them because like they were so different than the world that we live in, and like I used to just like to escape from reality as much as possible. And these games I like to do that, and then I like these games a lot because they're very minimalist. So like the Dark Spire, I talked about this. Like this is very similar game style to the Dark Spire. So like it's a roguelike game. All you can do is move forward, backwards, left, and right. You can't like freely move around like you would in like Skyrim or something like that. And yeah, so you can only move forward, back, left, and right. When you get to like battle animations and stuff, all you have are character portraits. Well, I didn't even think in this one you have character portraits. In the old games, all you had was character portraits, and then you had like hit points, magic points, and then maybe like one other status bar off to the right. And then in the old games, the enemy portraits used to be just like static pictures, and you maybe get like a slash animation if you attacked, but that was it. And I really liked it because the game left you to fill in the blanks with your imagination, so you could basically build whatever game world that you wanted based on how you wanted to envision the world. And I like that so much better than just being handed every last detail of the game's world and characters and stuff. And that's what I really don't like about modern RPGs. But anyways, so in this game, it kind of is a mix between modern and classic, in that like your characters still don't have like battle animations. So like if you played Final Fantasy or like Dragon Quest or something like that, if you don't, well, I guess Dragon Quest was kind of like this too, but like you don't see your character, and then but now like when you attack, like your character has like running motions, and will show them jumping and like slashing at the enemy and stuff, which that part admittedly is kind of cool. And then in this game, the character animations are in 3D, so they have a little bit of life to them and stuff, but it still retains that like minimalist gameplay. But anyways, like this is a game that I would definitely recommend if you're looking for something outside the normal RPG, I guess, boundaries, or if you just like first-person roguelike RPG games. I will stop talking about that because I probably spent way too much time on it. So the next game up is another kind of obscure game that you don't really hear people talking about. It's very quirky, and then the humor in this game reminds me a lot of like British humor, and that it's kind of dry, and then some of it's a little bit slapstick, and I really like it because of that. But it's going to be Okage the Shadow King, and this game, like I said, it's quirky. You start the game off, I guess, like releasing the Shadow King, who is looking for a host because he has no physical form, and he needs like someone to take him around the world and basically be his minion. So your main character ends up becoming the minion, and you both set off in order to find imposters that say they're all like the new Shadow King. They're the strongest evil entity in the world, and yeah. So like the thing I like about the Shadow King is like he proclaims to be like the most evil person in the world, but he actually like backhandedly does things to help people. So like if he saw a puppy in the street or something, he'd be like, "Oh, that puppy needs to die. I'm going to kill it so hard by taking it out of the street and putting it on the sidewalk to let it live a long life and die a natural death. That's going to be the worst death it can have." But just stuff like that I really like. I like that he's evil, but he's not evil. And it's just kind of funny to see when he comes up with an evil plot how it's going to play out. But yeah, this is a definite game that I would recommend as well. So the next one up is going to be one I know I've talked about before. It's going to be kind of in the same vein as Tel Concerto and Sola Torobo, in that you're in like a giant, well, not giant, but you're in like a little mech vehicle that you use to pick items up and throw them at enemies, or you just use to pick enemies up and then throw enemies at other enemies. But it's going to be Steambot Chronicles, otherwise known as Bumpy Trot, and I really like this game. So this game is kind of steampunkish, I guess. I would say it's probably steampunk. So like you end up washing up on the shore. You kind of start the game off like Link's Awakening. A girl finds you. You become friends. You end up finding a Bumpy Mobile, and then you take her back home because she cannot get home. And once you get into the city that she lives in, like you really start getting ingrained into the society that this game is going to take place in, and it's just really cool. Like there's a ton of NPCs to talk to. There's a ton of like different, I guess like homes and stuff to explore. There's a lot of exploring. And this game is like a giant sandbox, and then like you can find like different items and stuff to kind of customize the way that your character looks. And also this game has a lot to do with music, so you can end up joining a band, and then like there's a lot of like rhythm type games that you can get into. And yeah, I don't know, there's just a ton of stuff to kind of let unfold in this game. Like I've seen that people have put like hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of hours into this game, and I can easily see why, which is why I picked it up, really. So the next game up is going to be one of my favorite, well actually it's probably tied for my favorite Gundam game in general, and it's going to be one of my favorites because it's a turn-based RPG, and yeah, you get to customize Gundam, so it's basically like the best of any world involving Gundams. But it's going to be MS Saga, and this by no stretch of the imagination is like an incredible RPG, but it's also not like a mediocre or crappy RPG. Like this game is definitely like middle of the pack to maybe a little bit great, depending on how much of a Gundam fan you are. But it's cool because like you can, I'm trying to think of the name of this thing. It's like an easy bake 3D printer type machine for Gundams, but like you end up picking up different Gundam parts and stuff throughout the game, like through battles, and then just like randomly finding them in treasure chests and stuff. that you can go to these like 3D Gundam printers and like make different Gundams for your characters to then pilot that are also stronger and stuff as you go through the game. But then like after you acquire different Gundam, you can like customize different body parts on them to make them stronger or like be able to carry different weapons. And then you can also like change the paint on them and stuff. So like it's just really cool. There's a lot of customization and stuff that you can do. And then like the cast of characters is really diverse. I like seeing different characters from like different regions throughout whatever game world that you're playing. I like I don't know. I just like having diversity in the characters that I can choose to play from. And then the story, like it's not really anything like groundbreaking. It's if you've like seen any kind of Gundam, you can probably guess how the story unfolds. Anyways, like the towns and stuff are really big in this game too. That's another thing I appreciated. And then like I don't understand why, as games have gotten more graphically complex and I guess capable, why like things like exploration and like exploring towns and overworlds has been cut out of a lot of RPGs in order to favor like super graphically heavy but boring video games. Anyways, I'm not going to go down that road. Maybe I'll do that rant another day. But Mobile Saga is another game that I would definitely recommend if you're an RPG fan. And then the last game here is going to be a game that I don't think gets near enough love for what it is. And like it's not a low print game, it's not an obscure game. I'm pretty positive if you have any kind of store around you that sells PlayStation 2 games, you can walk into it right now and probably find a copy of this game. But yeah, I don't think just enough people talk about it, and I'm kind of shocked because it's a Square Enix game, and I've really come to loathe Square Enix over the years. But it's going to be Radiata Stories, and this game, I love this game, mostly because it doesn't take itself seriously. Like this game reminds me so much of Final Fantasy IX, except for the fact that it's an action RPG. But like the way that the world is, like it's another kind of like steampunky fantasy type atmosphere. There's just so much comedy in the game. Like I don't think I've gone more than like 5 minutes in this game without like laughing, and I just love the way that the characters interact with each other. So like if you're a fan of Naruto, like the original series, the way that Team Kakashi comes together is almost in exactly the way that the team that your main character comes together. I can't remember the name. It's like Kusan Rouge, I think was the name of the team. But like, anyways, the characters are all just so funny. Everything is quirky. The combat in this game is really great. I really can't say enough good things about this game. Like, if I could recommend any game and only one game of the games that I've shown you in this video, it would be Radiata Stories for sure. But anyways, yeah, guys, that's going to be the end of this part 2 of PlayStation 2 Hidden Gems. And like I said, I hope you enjoyed the video, and I don't know, maybe you've seen some game that you didn't know of before and are now interested to go and check out. Anyways, if you're in the US, I hope you have a great Thanksgiving coming up tomorrow. And if you're not in the US, I just hope you have a great day coming up tomorrow. But anyways, guys, take it easy. Later.
Well, you'd better start teaching him, hadn't you?